right side of it, where it's things are moving, you're not too fast. Yeah. Solving problems, but
I think you can go.
right. Wednesday is. Give it a second.
Oh, that's something very well. I didn't do was.
All right, it is Wednesday, May 13th at 6 P.M. I'm gonna call the urban renewal board meeting to. Let's start with roll call. Take it away, Tom.
Okay, John Connaughton, president.
Ruth France.
Victor John.
Cheryl Lee. Samantha Madison.
Sean Lewis.
Love it. Great work. Okay, if everyone can take a moment and check out last week's meeting minutes, we'll do approvals.
So. Yeah, so I had a comment about this on page 5 under bills, payments and financial reports. It's a discussion centered around possibly changing the category and or creating a bigger budget for this item. If it will cost this month each year, which doesn't make any sense, so I think everyone might be paying too much. And. We got. At the bottom, under correspondence and information, on page 7, the SPF and VEH here that suggested that we should do our due diligence to make sure that we are paying appropriate rates. Sarah stated that she would into it, but there was no report in this fact. So we might want to. That something that happens next month.
Just to follow up.
I don't care, I'm really happy and I have a really good with the attorneys, so it's like.
Oh, yeah, I think, you know what? Cheryl, here's this one. I'll answer this topic first, no later. I believe it was an email thread that Tom was a part of where, what's her name, Sarah was saying she's gonna investigate lawyer rates, that she's gotta put out like a public proposal or something. Let me see if that.
Doesn't make any sense.
So, maybe this was some, does this ring a bell, Tom? Attorney's fees. I've been advised that we want to check attorney's fees this when we go out for an RFQ, please let me know if you'd like to do this. And then I wrote this would be if we want to compare our fees, that's correct. Tom asked, we currently have needs, service of attorney, I said I'm fine with doing the RFQ. I think we just kind of got left off with that, so I think Sarah's gonna do the RFQ.
Okay, so. Yeah, so the. The attorney we have, we already went through this and we hired them. We have a really good relationship with them. And they know what they're doing, they've been doing renewal for a really long time. I'm not sure why that hasn't worked through in order to find out what some of these rates are, that doesn't make any sense.
John,
I could talk about two things, but first off, can I mention just on the minutes, on the point of order, if something didn't happen, even though the minutes are a summary of the meeting. So something was said at the meeting, even if it didn't happen, follow up, we don't change the minutes.
Right.
Because that was
Yeah.
talked about in the meeting.
Well,
As far as the RFP or RFQ, it depends on whether you're currently contracted with the attorney or not. If you are not currently contracted for an attorney, then we have to treat it as going out for an RFQ or our bids or proposals to follow through with procurement process for services. So that, in that case, you do have to go out. Just, I mean, you can call them and see what the rates are, but before you can contract with an attorney or hire, you do have to go through that procurement process.
well, yeah, but unfortunately, yeah, we've done that and it takes a lot of time. But all we were looking for, I think. Was what, and I think the attorney gave, what are your rates, what are your rates, we're not asking them. Contract.
Sure.
Was a comparison of rates to see if we needed to do that. I'm assuming we have a contract with you.
And I don't know if you have a
It's very
current contract.
right now. So, anyway.
Yeah.
And like I said, they've always been really good, they're fast, they know what they're doing, and the relationship with them.
To me, based off of what I saw from their rates, it's cheaper than the rates I've had to pay in the past for where, so. I don't know if we need to burden Sarah with this project, I think we could probably just let it go.
And we must be in your contract with them, we're going to be working with them for the whole year.
Yeah, yeah.
Alright, do we need to circle that back to like a consent agenda or something, or,
At least something we mentioned.
okay, for now, we'll move forward. Cheryl, do you have another note about minutes?
Well, yes, and Sean maybe just cleared this up, but, was this what was really said, note this is on page 6, top paragraph, probably 2/3 of the way down. It was noted that the past practice of not paying fees was in order to not invest in half-baked projects.
I don't think so.
Is that what was said?
That sounds like something that,
That sounds like something I would say.
yeah,
Well-
but in reality, we
That's
weren't
not,
paying fees because
it's part of doing business,
Yeah.
paying the fees, and that's the, usually the person with the project, people with the project, their responsibility, their buy-in to the project, which is what we look for in all of our projects, we have buy-in. So that's why, not that it's a half-baked.
And so,
Excuse me.
so they've always paid the fees and they're supposed to pay for the permits. We made an exception.
Yes,
I think it was a good exception. What we
Yeah.
made it to. So we can do that, but, and I looked all the places and figured out where I saw it. I've seen it somehow.
Yeah.
Magically disappeared, but anyway, yeah, so it's been practiced that we do not pay fees and permits.
Yep. Yeah, and I think you guys understand what I meant by half baked, like a pie, like. If someone comes here with an idea and we give them 10 grand, they go get a permit, and then they find out the project's $1 million, and then they're like, well, we set that 10 grand on fire, like that's. That's not helping anybody, obviously, your situation, you're already $1 million something into the project, I'd say you're pretty committed, so. I think that qualifies the standard we're trying to achieve.
So, question then, are we trying to amend the minutes?
No.
Or what they're-
No.
We're just talking about-
Get clear.
clarification.
Got it. And
Any other questions or notes on minutes, anything else?
It's all moved that we approve the minutes as. Discussed, and there was one amended version.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
there was the one typo.
Yeah.
Great, the second, on the call the question,
Who had the second?
Cheryl, all those in favor?
Aye.
Nays, the ayes have it. Okay, meetings. Public, non-agenda items. Eric? You're on the agenda,
Yeah.
okay. You're on the agenda, right?
Yes, I have, so I did submit a pre-application application for another property that we looked to get an engineering grant for. I'm not sure if it's on the agenda, but I'm love to discuss it, and if it's not something that we pass or make a decision on today, if you guys are with that.
Yeah, I mean, I don't, with our P and J committee's temporarily on hold, we're not, really accepting kind of projects like that right now, we're trying to get through financing, we've kind of talked about this so many times. But, I don't know, we don't have it in front of us right now, so, I don't know if we can gear it out, or what do you guys think?
No, this year,
Yeah,
Turn it in, but not.
cool, yeah, it's what we submit.
Okay, well, so I've submitted the pre-application and application with Sarah. I know we're not having P and J meetings right now, is that something that, if there are submittals, we will have that, or is it just completely on hold and no conversation? Until we get finances in order?
Yeah, it's on hold right now, yep. Yep. Okay,
I spoke to you on the phone, I spoke that.
No worries, thank you.
we're gonna move into bills, payments, and financial reports.
Mr. Chair, if I could,
Yes, sir.
on page 9, you've got this document. Sarah wanted me to point out that the highlighted cells are for projects that have something interesting with their approvals or something like a forgivable or anything. She's just highlighting stuff that needs to be paid attention to that would be maybe a little bit outside the norm. So that's the reason for the highlights there.
Right, sort of to draw extra attention.
Yep.
Can someone refresh my memory? What is the downtown shutter? It's first
That's Mr. McGinley, that's the T
T-Mobile
Mobile
apartment.
apartment. So you know where the T-Mobile, the T-Mobile,
Yes.
yeah, so upstairs, he was starting to make apartments. And then he couldn't get financing, and so it's kind of in limbo at the moment, but he doesn't have to, but then nothing is due until March of 2028, apparently, some trades.
But he doesn't have 100,000 yet anyway, does he?
Oh, yeah, it's something nice,
Who does?
so
Okay.
I'm not sure who's that, unless we know that.
Well,
We
you
don't
know,
know.
does,
Before my time.
yeah, it was before my time. I don't know.
Yeah, that's what it is, and he's the person who, did work source of the bank.
Danny McGinley.
Yeah. Yeah, so the bank will run Pacific, all from the banking. Work source, but it used to be. Yeah, and I don't think he sold that, maybe he did. I think downtown seemed to be.
He did a Zoom meeting and decided he was gonna give it back to my,
Well, he did give us back some,
yeah,
but this,
but he was allowed to keep part of it.
yeah, so that he can go ahead with whatever, and I don't know if he's done anything, so.
Another question on this is, does anyone know with the, Jones Knudsen Apartments, Lisa Greiners, about the occupancy is, I don't know, nobody knows.
Yeah, yeah.
They're totally occupied.
And I went through here and our monthly income, I don't know, income, but payback, amounts to $6,197.78. And that's August 31st, 2026, this year, we will have received $450,000 in monthly payments. So.
It's great.
That was the one that you get into it. And received.
Mr. Chair.
Yes, please.
So on page 10, I know it was talked about at the last meeting, about the web service cell phone. Are we thinking of changing that for the budget for the next year?
Yeah, I think it was last left that we were exploring how it needs to be categorized. Because it's an online program, right? It's QuickBooks that we're using, that's what's driving its large cost. But at least for me in my business, I have to categorize it as office softwares, office software, I think is what it's called in my QuickBooks. So I think it should definitely be delineated better, but I think it was left that we were gonna talk to the accountant.
Okay.
Yeah,
Is that for, pardon me, is that for internet web services cell phone? Is that the line item that you're looking at?
It says that they, changing the category and or creating a bigger budget for this item.
So you
If the
have,
cost,
yeah, I think it's a new line item.
so you have a copy of the budget hearing stuff, and it's a new budget.
yeah.
Yeah, I was right, but the internet web services for 2025-26 was 500, and it has been moved up to 2,000.
I'd like to see a different line item. So I'm gonna talk about that, but
Yeah, I'd love to see this.
Well, it is, well, I got those. Mine was.
I mean, I'm not an accountant, but like I said, for me, in my QuickBooks, I have to label that as office supplies and software. But maybe it's not a good labor QuickBooks.
Understand.
Yeah.
we have a line item for that, so we could use it, right?
Oh, we have a separate one already, well,
Yeah, sorry.
bank fees, office supply. Yeah, but it's got us, like I said, in mine, it has to say software,
Okay,
cause office supplies. It's like toilet paper, pens and pencils, things like that.
For this type of accounting and budgeting, it really doesn't matter what you call it, it's what you code it to. That title is just a title, we can name it whatever, pardon me, you can name it whatever you want.
Yeah,
So if you wanna change that, that's something I would do at your budget hearing, is, or present that and say, I'd like to change the name of this line item. At the end of the day, it's still $2,000 that's budgeted for something. And you can put that in there, approve it, what it's named is really material.
great. Well, we have to make a motion or anything to move forward with getting into the budget meeting, or can you just make a note?
Just bring it up at the budget meeting, but I'll make a note for Sarah.
Appreciate that.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, sir.
since we're still talking about this page here, on page 10. In the middle of the page, we have contract services, operations, operations. Second line down, 65010, insurance, what are we insured for? What are we insured for?
Six operations.
65010, insurance. Budgeted for $1,500, what are we insured for?
That's a great question.
Liability,
Liability,
yeah,
so that's an ongoing.
I was thinking,
yeah.
Alright,
but I don't.
We need a general liability just to meet, or what is this?
Somebody comes to our meeting and they fall, I don't know if it comes under TURA or it comes under the city. Oh, I have no idea, I'm not an insurance agent.
Nah, you know, but you played one on TV, so that's good. Sean, could you just put a note down as well, that we just need to investigate out of curiosity what we're insured for?
it's an expense item that is not expended.
Yep.
Like $0 to spend on insurance, but there it is in the budget.
There also could be situations, like we see this in the city budget sometimes, where something is put in one budget year. The expense is there, but it's not cleared or anything until the next budget year, and so you can't take it off, you can't take that line item off for so many years afterwards, so it may just be something simple as that.
I got you.
Cool, so Jamie would be the one to really, and well, I'll have Sarah ask Jamie about it, but Jamie's the expert in all these more than me, so.
Okay,
Great. All right, any other thoughts?
Well, I did have a question,
Sure.
same page 10, going down the, it's 7,700 on capital outlay. And we have obligated agency approved projects, right?
Mm-hmm.
And we budgeted 38 $5,459, and we're over that.
Mm-hmm.
So does that mean, what does that mean?
I mean, if I'm gonna shoot from the hip here, I think that this is a line item that is effectively allowed to change, because I think we had a budget based off of what we're going into for the year. And then that 69,000 has obviously been added to that cost, right? So maybe that's from agreeing to projects and things like that.
Mhm.
But once again, why don't we take a note, we're gonna be in a budget meeting very soon.
Yeah. looking at page 11, the last two items, net other income and net income, and I always look at the percentage. And when, you know, it's way over. I wonder what does that mean? Why is that?
Mr. Chair, if I may.
Yes, sir.
So you have two separate parts of the budget. This is a snapshot in time of your financials, right? And it's an income and expense report, so it's telling you what your expenses were. And you have a budget of expenses and an annual actual expenses. And then your percent of budget is just a percentage of, are you over what you budgeted or are you under, right?
Right,
In this case, on income, it's the very same thing, but it's money coming in rather than money going in. So your net income is 497% over what you budgeted. What that means is you anticipated to bring in 242,000 this year, but in reality, you've taken in 1.2 million. Right? So your net income is way higher because you've taken in a lot more income than you anticipated. On the expenses, it's way high because you've spent. Pardon, on your total expenses, you anticipated spending 1.1 million in expenses, you've only spent 592,000. So you're only at 50% of what you anticipated to spend.
so we have a lot more money
You have some money, I wouldn't say a lot more money,
for 1.2 as compared to 592.
you're in a good financial position. Because you've taken in a lot more money than you anticipated you were gonna take in for the budget. But I don't know what like your sidewalk project. What you're anticipating on spending on that,
More than we thought.
yeah, so it's not that you have this pile of money, it's just that's the snapshot as of that day.
Okay,
Where you're at.
I'm gonna ask. Because I've gotten a little lost from the zigzag that we've been on this. Agenda, where are we on the agenda?
We are still,
Bill,
Bill's payments and financial reports.
Okay.
And Sean is being very helpful, so thank you for illuminating things.
You're welcome.
We keep moving on to the bills section.
You don't need consent.
Yeah,
I just mean that.
I think not, yeah, because we kind of picked apart that other document, so if we pick apart page 1.
I think someone asked, well, Justin asked where last time our projects and priorities are listed, and I would assume that they are on the website. For anybody to look at.
Yeah, there's,
The
last time we actually formally sat down and did a whole bunch was in 2022, I think, so it's on there. And then a year ago, we divided the $400,000 that we had between the sidewalk project and other stuff. All that's gonna change somewhat since then, but that's been. And the only other document that you looked at in order for projects would be plan. I don't know how many you can credit, but it's.
Well, before we keep moving, it sounds like we're good to move forward from Bill's payments, financial reports. Do we need to get a motion to accept it as is? All right, But we're gonna keep moving forward, we're gonna move on to committee reports. Personal justification committee, we are still temporarily on hold as we continue to move forward with. The sidewalk project and the financing project. So it sounds like we may have a new application for something, but it's time to on hold. The contract committee, that would be Eric.
Oh, you're Samantha and me.
Oh, perfect.
Yeah.
You wanna take it away?
Well, I wasn't Garrett reviewing, I'm sorry, I've been out of the loop, so I.
Okay, so we, yeah, so. Well, we have to. So one of the things to look at was the reimbursement. Request from, for the 108 Stillwell LLC, and the numbers all add up. And here's the last. Copy test check, that we didn't put in there, So, yeah, so that's there, so I went through the whole thing, I added up all the numbers. Made a correction. And, and so I'm not sure if this is what everybody has, but this is what.
Yeah, the addition, right?
Yeah, so the, well, nothing that's, as far as that particular project is concerned. Eric went over, as far as I know, looked at it and said it looked fine, so he can send an email to that effect. Yeah, the only thing missing out of papers that were sent for this was check 1097 for the JLT construction, and we got a copy of that, and you know, like, do that.
Yeah.
So, yeah, so, I mean, I think the contract committee could say that we recommend that we make this.
Sounds good.
For what Hope wanted, which was. $51,829.82, I believe.
So are we approving the, request that April 30th letter from Hope about rearranging budget categories? Or
That's different.
that's different?
Okay, so this, actually, yeah, so I'm just saying that the contract committee would recommend. And Samantha had written back and said that she was okay with it, and so was Eric. Approval of the request for $51,836.92. And I think that's what, what's, what's happening.
Yeah, consent agenda has folks. Email for reallocation.
Okay, but it's not. Yeah, but it's not, okay, so.
Consent agenda.
So the consent agenda. Is not correct, okay? So it says $51,836.92, but actually what we're requesting is $51,829.92. There was an error. On the heat pump store, the check is for $15,820, $15,000. Make sense? So you would have to, yeah, so basically. 15.
So we gotta do that update.
Because like I said, the depot store is 15,800 on the month.
Yep.
So that's just $7 difference, correct?
Yes, it is, that it changes your whole percent potential.
Should be 51,829. 899, where are we?
Which item on the consent agenda are you talking about? Which item?
First one,
The 108 letter?
yes, 108, so that is not going to be 51, 836.92, it's now 15, 829.92.
51, not
50. No, it's 51.
Yeah.
Oh.
That's okay, I'm all about it. 51, 859.92.
Mr. Chair, if I may, it's actually a $7.50 difference, so just look at it now, instead of $7.
Oh, it's a $7.50.
Yes, yes, thank you.
Okay. So it's 8148.50 is what we're looking at, no.
No, it's not. This,
21, that's.
this says 15, 821 even.
Yeah. It's 15,821, it's even, that's what
I'm just looking at, on the unupdated copy of this. It says for the thumb store, it has it at 815,828. That's 50,
yeah, but I see, okay, it's,
no, you guys are right, my apologies. Got it.
Cool, so we're not counting 50 cents, so that's not correct. So it's 51,829.92. It's 51,829.92.
so that's what the first line on the consent agenda should be.
Okay,
So, Mr. Chair, what I recommend is when you go to approve the consent agenda, just say with that one edit. Okay,
what's the second one?
$12,000, they're not supposed to.
Oh. Okay, so,
we can talk about that.
yeah,
You can move to amend the consent agenda to add that. We have documentation here.
yeah,
For it. You can add that, but the check isn't printed tonight. Because of the processing things and the times that the city has to go through, that Sarah has to go through to do that. Adding something that came in after the deadline,
Yeah.
it's on Thursdays before your agenda goes on.
but this first 10,000 is from the earlier invoice, and the 12,000 is the most recent invoice.
Right.
So we need to add 12,000 to this total. Great.
And Ruth, there is a deadline for things that are due. We can't just run checks at any time.
Well, it has to be paid within 30 days of the deal.
Sure. And it was submitted 4 days ago.
Right, and 30 days from that, we will not have had a meeting.
So, and that's what I'm saying, you can approve it and add it to the consent agenda, and the check will go out
Next week.
next week or something.
That's fine.
But the check wasn't printed for tonight. To be signed.
Okay, so I have a final adjusted total, $122,702.92.
I could go. Say the number again,
That number is $122,702
$122.
and 92 cents. Well. We can go, we're about to go over the sidewalk stuff in a moment.
Right.
But we can talk about it now if we want to see this word done with this invoice.
But we wanna, okay, well, as far as the, North Coast Civil Design, they sent. For both of these checks, they actually sent the design.
Yeah.
What they've done, so, and I think everybody got a copy of that.
Yep, it's right in here.
Yeah, and Terry submitted, redocumented to find in order to back up the name here. Thank you. And Terry, Elmer and Hammond, sure, this is an invoice for the $61. So. and that was for going over the two. The two grants. As after the information was put into the templates, so it doesn't take very long. That can be right.
Water connection, something. Okay, so I don't think I can make a motion, but if someone could make a motion to accept the consent agenda with these amendments, that'd be great.
I'll move that we can accept the consent agenda with the amendments made so that one off each Stillwell is 51,829.92. There's the addition for Northbrook Civil Design, 12,000, and the total is now $122,702.92.
Excuse me, can we back up?
Yeah.
Can I second
You
it?
already changed something maybe, but I don't know. Look at Terry Phillips. We have 48812 and the check is 48912.
That's because this is all included.
Pardon?
I think that's what we approved in the 48,812. That's what Sarah told me. On what?
Yes.
What you looking at, Ruth? What page?
Page 42, 43, 44.
Yeah, so this is the problem, at least the notes from last week. That's the $100 difference, 48,812. Page 5.
Page 5, okay. Okay, I see that. All right. Okay,
Well. Yeah,
Two seconds.
I will go ahead and second it so we can move forward.
okay, so we can't do the $100 then, right?
Right.
Just the 48. Okay. Cool, great, then. I call the question, is there any further discussion? All right, we can call the question, all those in favor of approving the consent agenda with the updates? Please say aye.
Okay.
Anyone opposed, nay? The ayes have it. Consent agenda.
That was a motion by Ruth, seconded by Tom.
Talk about committee to secure financing. Oh. I think you got it, that's word, like,
You did get out of order.
we were still here,
Oh, okay.
and then we were supposed to go there.
Yeah, there's this request here for reallocation.
Josh. And that needs to be in the consent agenda.
No, I don't know what needs to be.
Well,
Okay, first one. So,
let's, we can talk about Oak's email real quick. Everybody's gonna find you.
Mr. Chair, just for clarity, I would have somebody make a motion to add that to new business.
That's Oak's there, yeah, great. Could someone make a motion to add Oak's email to new business?
I make a motion that we add, the one of these to our LLC request for to reallocate funds and do this.
Someone second that, please.
Second that.
I'm gonna call a question. Ayes,
I
ayes have it. Okay, first, we're gonna get back on track to committee reports, and we're gonna hear from Tom about the committee to secure financing.
So I was requested at the last meeting to get a hold of David Oldbright over there. And they're going to remember, and we've had discussions with him before, and all positive, very good experience with him. And he said he was gonna get back to us after we had a meeting with him. So some time has gone by and he has not gotten back to us to explain to us what his plans are for us and what his potential fees would be. So I was told to reach out and recontact him, which I did last week, or the week before. I think I sent a copy of my email to him to possibly Ruth and or Victor. And maybe everybody. But the bottom line is, he hasn't responded to my most recent inquiry as to where are we in our relationship with them. And where he can take this forward, so my report is, I have nothing to report. Willing to take further marching orders from the group here to attempt to recontact him again. Because it's out of character for him not to respond, it's very out of character.
Yeah, I think we just have to keep following up on it, because we gotta get this plan figured out. So we can figure out the rest of the
You
year.
know what our capabilities are as far as extra management, yeah,
Yeah.
okay, I will send out another email.
The only other thing I could think of would be to ask, what's the name of the person we did the training with? Elaine Fallon. Maybe ask her what she knows. If she knows him, if she knows. What is it, whatever, what's going on.
So,
I can send you, like,
I can give you her number, I got it through,
okay,
through, it was 503 975 3147. That's what good for.
alrighty. And so,
She's the
Declare-
consultant.
yeah, I remember, I looked at that meeting, she did a great job. So,
just to see if she knows, like, where he is, or if something's happened, or something we would never know.
okay,
Because that we've been trying to get people to know we have with you.
yeah, it's kind of, okay,
I would shoot, this is just my thoughts and advice, but I'd shoot him one more message first, or call his office first. And then if he doesn't respond, then escalate.
okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I will do that. And just for clarity, I will send one more message to David, a week or 10 days goes by without him getting in contact. I will then call Elaine Howard to ask her, where's where's David?
Absolutely.
Yeah, okay.
Where's Carmen Sandier?
Okay,
All right, those are the committee reports. Now moving into new business where we have folks email. Everyone will just take a moment. It's page 27, looks like this. Got it. I got no problem with this. Seems pretty straightforward to me.
I move that we accept, that we authorize the fund that is stated in the letter to.
Appreciate the transparency.
yeah, that's good.
Anybody else have any thoughts? Someone second, Ruth,
I second.
right? I'm gonna call the question. Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Nays. Ayes have it. All right. And this is. All right, I guess we can just do project updates, Northwest Walkable Sidewalks project update. You'll see. That not only do we have an invoice for Northwest Coastal, Northwest Coast. We also have. a set of plans that are coming together. Very exciting. everyone can take a moment, look through that. We can.
On page 39.
So it starts with this, the actual invoice itself, it should be a totally isolated packet.
There's two,
Yeah,
there's invoice 310, there's invoice 313. Tens for 10,000, and for 313 for 12, so we approve, but, plans are not quite exactly the same, I'm sure we can.
yeah, well, they've been growing. I see here we got the other set of plans.
The police plan for like some pages and for kind of the game over like 16.
Honestly, bigger, honestly. So much.
So is this something that we'd like them to come and do a presentation for us, or we're supposed to tell from this? Tiny, tiny print.
I would assume that once he's finished with all these plans, that he would found copies about that.
Yeah. And give a call, actually, about that, I'm sure you would do that. But basically, what we're looking at here is how this process is starting to come together, like. Here you can see on like C1, for example, there's the different sections that have been called out where we've identified the bigger issues. You know, so it's not every single piece of concrete, it's, you know, definitely targeted. But what is the most interesting to me? Is that I saw earlier, some of the architectural details starting to get plugged in, and should we, yeah. Here on the last page, DD1. So this document is definitely going to expand, but these are the actual details of how sidewalks are actually built. So this is how you have to like, the depths you need to dig, footings you need to do, but the soil back, the backfill we need to do, so this is like the actual, you know, a diagram.
Not finding these, I didn't see these, but I'll have
DT1, oh, DT1, I think is in here,
that one first one,
the bigger one, the bigger packet.
the bigger packet. Oh, I see.
There's last page.
What am I doing even? Okay.
But I'm gonna take a note down. To just give kind of calm.
Well, a portion of this contract with him. Is that once the construction begins, he is actually going to be the person who will pursue.
Yeah. Yeah, and
So he must be almost done with this one.
I think he's pretty close to being done with this part, so I'm gonna give him a call, I'm gonna find out where we're at on his procurement process and just. Where we are at in terms of being able to submit for permits and be able to potentially. Use this as a tool to reach out for grants and everything, just once this is 100% finished.
Well, I really have to rely on somebody else's knowledge because you know, Terry could tell me something, Hope could tell me something, Sean could tell me something, I have no.
Oh, yeah,
I have no experience with this,
I mean, I have to dig deeper into it than just, you know, getting it ready for, you know, ready for meeting. But what I'm seeing here is this is all like. This looks great, this looks like the kind of stuff that I would deal with for, a commercial remodel or a residential remodel or something like that. We got architectural details here, we got site plans, we've got, cover sheets. We've got a lot of information coming together. I just think there'll be a lot more pages like DT, JET, especially the ADA groups, probably have their own entire page there. So, and it also looks like he started to find. Yeah, like. Yeah, I think we've got like sewer information coming together. Yeah, but I'll give him a call and. Just get a little more information. So anyone needs any questions, Tom?
Yeah, so. I'm looking at the drawing for that, whatever it's called, and. If I'm interpreting this right, I'm seeing the sidewalks that go from Stillwell all the way to the Hollywood
Yeah,
on Second and First. And I'm seeing. From what I is printed in front of me here, a lot of gaps. Is there a lot of sidewalk? Is there a lot of sidewalk that is not being replaced? Is that what I'm seeing?
I would say. Yeah, short answer is yeah, especially on that one section of streets.
Look at C1, for example.
And not really because it's in the
Is it good enough condition
Yeah.
to survive 30 years or something?
Exactly.
Okay, that, I was just looking for clarity there and I got,
No, it's been a long time since you and I walked it and did like a priority list.
yeah,
But I think that this documentation reflects
all right,
priority.
I will take that, I'm gonna draw out.
C5, C4. C1. Yeah, great. Yep.
Yeah, asking someone to do a presentation to us and remember that we aren't in the business. Something like that is changing for the artists and for other people.
Only one other thing that I would like to bring out, so when people. Have become aware that I'm on your rural agency and our ability to help fund projects and things like that. What's bringing me to, and I get quite often. What are you doing with big money? And I say, well, we got the sidewalk project going on First and Second Street. They react pretty poorly to that. And it's also reflected in the minutes here. Public non-agenda items where Todd Richard made a quote at our last meeting. Todd Richard added that perhaps the sidewalks are not as valuable on the river renewal fund. So I'm not saying let's change course. I'm just saying there's an awareness out there more and more of what our ideas are for First and Second Street, which are commendable, but the public is not necessarily seeing it from our point of view.
Oh, it's not very good.
I would agree with that 1000%. They're shooting from the hips when they do happy like that, so.
And if you look at Oregon's urban renewal plan, sidewalks is one of the highlighted things.
All right,
So that's probably where it came from, but this has passed through multiple boards. And has always remained something important, and I think was in our original. Was from Stillwell to, it was first to fifth.
First to fifth, so,
Did Third Street,
and so
and you have to admit, that is a big plus. You see people walking that all the time. It's a thoroughfare now, especially with college out there. So, we can,
yeah, it's all good.
so now we're trying to do first and second, and eventually we hope to do fourth and fifth.
Yeah, and the other thing too is, this isn't the end of urban renewal's flammability or capital. Like, this isn't like the last hurrah for urban renewal. And that's part of why, I've been wanting to pause P&J, so we can keep some capital. So as we go through the process with David, then we can, finance this project. Get the next $1 million or $2 million that we're gonna be eligible for. And then, keep cycling this money back into the business community. So like, I can understand other people's hesitations, but this isn't like the end of a movie and then, urban renewal's done, we threw all the money away. It's just one part of the process.
Yeah.
So I would say,
Yeah, and to your credit, what you just told me about the sidewalks that we did out on Third Street and how good they look, number one, and number two, how used they are. That's ammunition for me to re-argue back to these people, so I appreciate that.
Yes, and as well, Tom, those aren't the only things we've done. And Eric's comment at the last meeting was that having those signs up in businesses where we have put money has been a big thing to do, so you can point out other things that we have done. It's not as if we're just saving this money, all this money, we're holding it here for the sidewalks. We have been using it, and you can see the results in the city.
Yeah.
Thanks to Phillips, thanks to Bouchard's.
Okay.
And I think if you go through the plan, and I have a paper copy, but it's on the website. Goal 3 is to provide efficient, safe, and effective streetscapes and open spaces, so. Those sidewalks, for the most part, are not safe. And then goal 4 is to maintain, remodel, and construct public parks and open spaces, public facilities, and public safety facilities to maintain and enhance safety in the renewal area and increase public utilization of the renewal area. You think when they did the whole part study and set kind of this section over here, in the north, west corner of Toma, as the whole part area, that it was supposed to be walkable. You're supposed to be able to leave your home, walk on a safe sidewalk, and get to the downtown business that there's going to be expanding in that direction. And if you look on page 8, under 16, outline and development, one of the things is to provide improvements to curb, sidewalk, and streets in the urban renewal area. And on page 10, it talks about street, curb, and sidewalk improvements. And number 3 underneath that is the bullet, number 3. Improve pedestrian safety and visibility by treatment such as improved corner bulb outs and pedestrian crossings. And also says from First Street to Fifth Street, reconstruct, repair existing sidewalks to make them compatible with the Americans with Disabilities Act. There are going to be replacing 26
Curbs.
Corners.
corner things, ramps. And that is the huge expense for this project. It's not the concrete for the sidewalks, it's all of those.
That's the age, we're gonna appreciate those.
Yeah.
The total has an aging population.
Population.
That's true. All right, second agenda has been completed. Board comments, non-agenda items. I guess we kind of just naturally went into that.
Yeah.
Does anyone else on the board have any comments or non-agenda items?
I do.
Sure, take this away.
I always do, don't I? No, I just wondered, and it's nice that Sean's here because he can maybe give us some input. What's the status of John Sendas?
Oof.
He's on our board, but he hasn't been here for a long time, so is he not coming on the board? Are you replacing him at the city level with someone else, or what do we know?
Well, what I can tell you is that Councilmember Sandusky is still a member of the city council. The liaison positions on this board are made by appointment of the mayor.
Right,
The mayor has made no effort to, or indication to me anyway, that he wants to change those. The last discussion came around the first of the year. And so they haven't made any changes to the appointments.
he's aware of the lack of representation by the city council here on the board.
Yeah, and I think that's part of the conversation that the council wants to have with this board. I think we're doing that on June 1st.
Yes.
Like what we decided. And so that having these conversations, because one of the questions is that there was something about coming back about whether 2 council members needed to be on the TURA board as members. Well, the enacting ordinance, when the city created TURA, the enacting ordinance says 2 members of the city council shall serve on the board.
My bylaws say statements, but
Yeah, and so I can't go back and take one of those council members off without adjusting the ordinance that created TURA. And so I think that's part of the conversation the city council wants to have is. Is there needs to amend the ordinance for a couple of things? And I think that to Tom's point about the public and the sidewalk stuff. I hope I'm not speaking out of school a little bit, but I think some of that conversation has made its way to the city council. And the city council wants to have some questions about our sidewalks, the best use of TURA funds. It's an interesting relationship because TURA is its own entity that is quasi-governmental, that operates through the auspices of the city. The city created it, but when they created it, they didn't give much oversight by the city council other than the two city council liaisons. So you guys select your own board members. Most boards like this, board members are selected by the city council and appointed to this type of board. We can't make a change like that unless we go back and change the drafting of ordinance. And so, you know, if the end result is that the city council created this organization, the city council can dissolve this organization. But that's gonna be a big thing, and I don't think anybody wants to do that, and I'm not threatening that the city's gonna do that. What I'm just saying is that there's questions about, do we need to make some tweaks so that the city council does have a little bit more oversight and influence on the board. We've got a couple members of the city council that would like that. I think there's other members of the city council that like the way it is right now and would be happy to let you guys go. So those are the parts of the conversation that the council wants to have. But as far as to answer your specific question about Councilmember Sandusky, he's still on the council, he's still appointed here. He can choose whether he shows up or not. And if your bylaws has something on that, unfortunately, your bylaws can't kick off one of the council representatives.
One thing that you said, Sean, is that, we select our members, we don't, they're volunteers,
Sure,
they're volunteers.
as all boards are in the city. But, you know, like the planning commission, before you get on the planning commission, you don't just volunteer and start showing up at planning commission meetings. You have to go through the city council process. Here, you don't have to go meet with the city council before you get on the TURA board.
No, the board is selected.
Yeah. And that's the difference that I'm talking about. Okay, gotcha.
And two, I think it's important to have two people and just to give you past practices. When Paul Wintergreen was here.
Yeah.
He was at every one of our TURA meetings.
Mhm.
He was, so they not only have their two representatives from the city council, they have the manager as well.
Mhm.
And so it's important, I think, to have two, because as you see tonight, there isn't here. So
Yeah.
you don't have representation, you don't have that feedback coming from this meeting back to the
Well,
city
and
council.
that's really how it should
That's
work, right? You're supposed to have two people here, they attend the meetings, they are supposed to report on that to the city council, this is what tour is going on. And then they should be able to bring stuff back from the city council to this board. And I just don't think that communication has been effectively happening, at least over the last year that I've been. Now, it's up to the mayor to determine if he wants to change who those appointees are. We could look at that, we could look at other options, if you want me to attend more, I could look into that, that's.
I don't say that you need to,
Yeah.
and that's not my call, but, I was just saying,
Yeah.
he was here, so.
Yeah, I mean,
There was more. There was more support from the city at that point, because we had the city manager here at almost every meeting, he produced grants. To go along with the project we were working on, he had suggestions as to how to make them more effective. Which is Church Street sidewalks and that thing,
And making us aware of some events and.
and so
funds here.
I think it might be helpful.
Plus, the person that was the administrator, she not only was TURA halftime,
Mhm.
she was also the executive
Yeah, she was
secretary
too.
to the manager, so.
Are you thinking of Andrea?
No, I'm speaking.
Oh, back in the day,
Oh,
Debbie.
yeah.
okay.
Debbie Reeves,
Okay.
yeah, so. Yeah, we were more involved with the
Say,
city.
I don't have an executive assistant today, that position was eliminated,
Oh, yes,
so.
yeah, yes, but we were more involved and working in tandem.
Yeah,
Well, that was helpful,
Good discussion.
good discussion.
Thank you.
All right, can we move on to correspondence and information?
the only thing that I was told is that, you had the one new application, which Hope already brought up. And you've already discussed, so that was the only thing that Sarah wanted me to pass it on to you. And then just a reminder that, June 1st, we would like to see everybody there.
Yep.
At the city council meeting for that work session.
And that's in this room, right?
That is in this room,
And what time?
and at 6 o'clock. Unless we move it to a different room, which may or may not happen, we'll see. I'll let you know if it does. But right now, it's in this room.
That worked out great. It's a nice room, it's a nice color. The orange really. Mellows me out. All right, well then, if that's all at 7:06 p.m. I'm gonna call the public meeting to adjourn. However, we would like to have an executive meeting. And so that will be just board, thank you guys so much for coming.
You cannot adjourn a meeting and then go into executive meeting, you have to go into executive meeting. Under the auspices of the law, so you have to declare what you're going to meet on in executive meeting. Whether it's personnel, land acquisition, Oregon has those specific things. And,
Thanks for coming, Terry.
yeah, so you have to move into your executive session. And then come out of executive session and then adjourn.
Gotcha, thank you for helping me. I think I understand better. So not hitting the gavel.
But I am gonna ask of the topics that are under executive session, personnel, okay.
Good. Oh, so we'd like to move into an executive meeting about personnel. Are you waiting for your check?
I am, I also have a question. Unrelated,
Can we sign the check and move into the executive meeting, or
That's up to you, if you've already approved it, you can sign it at any time and give it to her.
we will sign that right now. What was your question?
a few meetings ago, we had some discussion about potentially collaborating between the city and TURA on the sidewalk project. And I'm not sure if it was Tyler or myself, but one of us brought up the possibility of an opportunity where TURA and the city work together was, I know a struggle that the city has in talking to Sean and other members is that in applying for grants or loans or projects, that often means bringing capital in the first place. Example, to get a grant, you need to pay for the project and then be reimbursed. Potentially, one opportunity is for adding over the city to start working on ODOT grants and things like that. That the city may be applicable for, and TURA could step in terms of providing that upfront capital to the city to be able to pay for the sidewalk project, and then they would receive the grant.
Yeah, that's very interesting.
And I know in talking to him, he said that, in situations like this, in terms of ADA accessibility and sidewalks and making that available to people, there are a lot of grants that are applicable and we would most likely qualify for.
Yep.
So that's just one opportunity. I want to follow up on, see if that's something that you'd be open to, or just again.
I'm very open to. I want to continue to prioritize what we've developed already, but I'm very open to finding alternative financing and ways to win-win. I think everyone on this board, maybe we don't spend a lot of time in city council, but I think everybody here is very pro Tillamook and pro the business community. We want to find the right avenues, but we still want to make this project cost efficient, so. Anything else, Will?
That's all.
All right, I'm gonna start signing this, I'm gonna sign your check. How do we continue to move forward?
So you just need to have a motion from somebody to move into executive session to discuss personnel. And that's second in the vote, and then we would clear the room and talk about the executive session. I would ask, because I was not anticipating an executive session, so I'm not fully prepared on, because I don't think we recorded, and I can't remember if we do or not. And generally, the executive sessions, we have to invite a member of the media in. But normally James Scott reports to the council, and I don't know what happens here. So I'm gonna have to follow up with Chelsea a little bit to see what I need to do to make sure that the minutes and everything are done properly for the executive session. So if we could take like a 5-minute break,
Sure.
Take 5.
so that I can do that. That would be ideal.